All right, hey, we're back on YouTube, and today we're going to discuss mediumship and psychic abilities and things of that nature. I guess it was some 1981. I met a gentleman called Peter Close. He was from London, an international medium, and I was very, very skeptical. Of course, I was just starting to. This was just starting to really start to branch out, and everybody was starting to hear about it. So anyway, long story short, I sat with Peter Close, and of course, very skeptical. Didn't really believe in it. I was open to it, but I'm the type of person, seeing is believing, or you have to knock me over the head sometimes. And I've had a lot of bumps over the years, and my mother could contest to that. But anyway, sitting with Peter Close, I sat down with him, and we started talking, and he asked me for a ring or something like that. So I gave him my ring, and Peter was very good at psychometry, and we'll talk about that shortly in the video here. So I'm sitting with him, and he says to me, "I have your grandfather here, and he wants to thank you for throwing a 35 millimeter canister of film in the hole where his cremated remains went." That was the aha moment for me. So Peter knew nothing about me, nothing about that event, nothing really about my family. And there was only 5 people in the world that were there at that internment of my grandfather. He was a professional photographer for Newsday and the Long Island Press. That was a moment where I realized this is real. Some of the readings that I've had over the years, you could say, well, that kind of relates, or this kind of relates, or things of that nature. And you can kind of make it work. Peter was the type of guy that would knock you over the head. So he knocked me over the head. I became friends with Peter through my mother, and we were friends for many, many years. He's in spirit now, but he was a great instructor, great teacher. I had sat with him for as much as I possibly could when he was in the States, and learned as much as I possibly could from him. As that started to happen, I started to realize that I was feeling these kind of gifts in my own space. And I really didn't realize that I was totally feeling them, because I had had these experiences as a young child, as a young adult, and then moving into my 20s, it really started to become a very prominent force. So I started working with other people and exploring. I was very fortunate to grow up in a family with a medium. My mother was a medium, a psychic. I had a lot of great opportunities for many, 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 many years to meet a lot of people. So if you're questioning whether mediumship is real or not, or psychic is real or not, that's really okay. But from my experience, when you get hit over the head and you make a connection, you get a confirmation, and you give that kind of message, it's a definite thing that's happening. So I've been a medium and been doing psychic work now since that time. And that was that's when I picked up the ropes, so to speak, in 1981. And I realized that mediumship is an honor. It's a real honor to work and practice and create this connection to spirit. And it's something that's very sacred. And it's something that I realized in learning, that it's kind of like you're in service to your sitters, and you're in service to spirit. You are completely making a connection somewhere that's enabling yourself and your sitter to connect to the spirit world. It definitely happens. Some people are better connected than others. Some people are better connected at other times and not so much at other times. So mediumship is and psychic work is really comes down to practice, and it comes down to training. Training is by far the most important aspect of this. Your moral compass is very, very important in this. When you are training, it's important to understand that you will go through almost like this up and down type of situation where you'll make really great connections, and then there's highs and lows to it when you first start. You want to get yourself to a place of service where you're very connected. You're in a place where that's very even, where you're not doing this. It took me some 10 years to get to a point where my body, my spirit can go to a place and connect instantly. There's rules in this. There's ways to come to a better understanding within yourself, and it takes time. When I first started training, it takes 10 years to master anything. I truly believe that people have gifts, and that there's a lot of people out there doing this work that are very, very, very talented. But when you sit with somebody who has absolutely mastered their abilities, their psychic connections, their mediumship connections, you will find that they've put in a lot of time. They've trained very, very hard. They're very committed to themselves, spiritually, psychically, and their spirit. And they don't really have to worry about whether they're going to get connected or not. This takes time. So mediumship's a little bit different than psychic work. Of course, you could be a psychic and really not be a medium. If you're a medium, you're definitely a psychic, because the psychic training, I started to talk about psychometry. Psychometry is one of the best tools to open up those paths and those concepts and ideas into psychic work that kind of propel you into mediumship, so to speak. So I think that anybody anywhere has the abilities to do this. I don't think I have a special ability that somebody else doesn't have, but I've put in the time, I've put in the training, I've learned from some very, very, very good people. But if you're thinking about going into this kind of stuff and getting yourself into this idea or concept in your own self and working, or even doing it recreationally, some people do mediumship and psychic work recreationally. Most people of the past were, you hear about their grandmothers read tea leaves, or all this. This was a fun thing. It wasn't like it is today, a big business. I'm not really in the business end of it. I've always been in service. I like helping people connect and give them messages, healing messages, closures to things of that nature. You all have the abilities. It's just a question of, have you put in the time to clear out your day, clear out all the belief systems and the belief structures and all of these inner lower emotional frequencies within yourself. Most mediums and most psychics will tell you that they're working on an enlightened emotional scale. and enhanced emotions of gratitude, emotions of forgiveness, very humble, things of that nature. There's a whole entourage of emotions that help propel you into being a medium. And there's a lot of emotions that can drag you down. That's why I was talking about this when you first start this up and down. You have to get out of your way. Obviously, you have to get into your power, but you have to get out of your way. And what I mean by getting out of your way is you have to get out of your thoughts. You have to get out of your head. You have to get out of your fears, anxieties, your stresses, and all. You have to let all that go. So when I first started training, we learn about the chakras, we learn about our energy systems, we learn about opening up certain different possibilities within ourselves through meditation, through visualization, with help from teachers. And that's where it all starts and comes from. There's a lot of different ways to go about this. Everybody's, well, you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. The best teachers and the best mediums realize that they do it their way. I've taught mediums for probably the last 15 years. I've taught people to use their psychic abilities for the same amount of time. I don't like people following me. Like, don't follow me, don't get behind me, stand beside me, let's work together. At some point, it's like the bird in the nest, right? The egg cracks, something happens, you become this possibility. And at some point you have to fly out of the nest. The teacher has to watch the student, grow into their own professionalism with it. Listen, there are definite, like I said, rules, and rules might be a hard word, but some things are discernment when you do this work. You are in a place of a suggestive nature. Predicting futures and things of that nature. If people are very open and or very upset or coming to you with trauma, you have to realize and have discernment that you're not going to suggest things to people or tell people things. So there's a moral compass that really goes along with this. I think mediumship is again a blessing. I've been blessed with it. I've worked with a lot of people who have been blessed with it, and I think we can all honestly say that where we are right now, that this is a helpful, beautiful force. This isn't something that's dark. This isn't something that's negative. This isn't something that should be pushed away. This is something that should be looked at and really experimented with and moved forward. We know in antiquity, we know in the ancient times that there were great mystics, there were great psychics, there were all of these energies that were used in the old times, in the antiquity. They were much more prominent and much more strong than they are today. We're starting to move back into that. It's really nice to see. I think as time moves forward, you'll start to see some of the younger children who are being raised with the ideas and thoughts that this is really, part of life. You'll start to see a new age of mediums, a new age of psychics emerge with really extraordinary powers within themselves. Like I said, I grew up with it. It was part of my life, so I naturally moved in it. In closing, I would say, like to give you just, this isn't something to be scared of. This isn't something that If you don't like it, that's fine. If you don't want to experience, that's fine too. But if you like to experience it, it's really exciting. Search out good people who have good moral standards, who are reasonable. I know a lot of mediums who are reasonable. I know a lot of mediums who are unreasonable. And I think there should be an exchange for any type of gift like this. But I think at some point, what's the cost of it? When I first started, I did readings for 20 years. I never charged a dime. And my mentality around that was, it's being given to me freely. Why am I charging for it? So I kind of shifted and changed like that. If you go to my website and you book a reading, you'll see an exchange there. I think the exchange is good, but I think search out somebody who you resonate with, who you feel comfortable with, who's reasonable, and try it out. It's really great. If you like this YouTube, please share it, get it out. Check out my website. Check out the information there. Book a reading with me once a month. I do give away a free reading once a month. Sign up, get yourself in there. Tell your friends, share it, whatever. The more, the merrier. I love picking through the hat full of names and picking one out. I get real excited. So let's get that going, and we'll see you soon. Hope to see you in a reading. Zoom, person, let me know.